All right, we're going live now. Let's see. Okay. Close. Save. All right, everyone who's watching at home, just bear with me for a moment. I've never streamed to YouTube before. I've just been using Twitch, so I gotta adjust some settings here. If you are watching on YouTube, let me just try something here. Does the chat load up? Okay, great, there's a chat now. All right, this is my first time streaming to YouTube, so you're gonna have to bear with me on this very first day. I am not, I don't have the right, to put it bluntly, I don't have the right setup yet. I didn't plan accordingly, so I'm a bit behind on my setup for doing this. Normally I do this with Legos, which is a bit different because I don't have to worry about what's on my screen. Anyway. Let's see. All right. Pull. Hi, I'm Galen from Sunset Spark, here at Sunset Spark HQ, which is really just a tiny classroom / office where we keep all of our Legos and robots and 3D printers and other things. It's like a big computer toy store. We're going to be doing classes from here for the longevity of the NYC school closures. I'm going to be teaching some of the classes. Yadira will be teaching the other ones. We might have some guests from time to time. This is my first time doing computer stuff live streaming. Normally I've been doing Lego robotics live streaming, which is a bit easier, and our setup is a bit more set up for that. So these first few classes are kind of be a little herky-jerky as I figure out the right setup for this. Something happened at the house today, so I had like 20 minutes to set up, and turns out that is not enough time to figure out how to do all the screen sharing stuff the right way. But it's probably good enough for now based on what I saw. I kind of got to manage a bunch of windows here, so I'm going to be looking at my screen quite a bit. Where'd that window go? All right. It's hard to monitor YouTube and Twitch chats, so if I don't respond immediately, please be patient as I figure this out. I'll eventually have a whole screen over here with the chats and everything that I should be monitoring while I'm teaching. Anyway, let's get started. So we are going to be, whoops, I already, like I said, boom, push. All right. We are going to be learning about Python coding. I've been a Python programmer for 13 years. It's what I did professionally before. I mean, I was a software engineer professionally, but most of my work prior to starting Sunset Spark was in Python. I've written probably hundreds of thousands of lines of code in Python over 10 years. I've made news analysis systems, games, medical software. A long time ago, I made weapon training systems. It's really been all over the place, my career, and now I'm here running a nonprofit. And occasionally I teach Python. I've taught Python to high school students for a year. Then I taught Python to middle school students for 3 years. And now I've brought it down to teaching Python to 4th and 5th graders. Python's an easy language to learn. Well, it's not, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easier than people think. And 4th and 5th graders can definitely handle it. But it does require a bit more computer knowledge than just opening up Scratch. We're going to be using something called Repl.it to do this. I'll go to the next slide. So we're going to be using Python. Python is a programming language. If you're a kid watching this, you probably are familiar with Scratch or maybe stuff on code.org. Python is a typed language, so you have to type a lot. We're going to be using our keyboard more than our mouse to type things out. So it's really about being able to spell a bit, knowing where the keys are. Every week we're going to have, or not every week, every class, every day, we're going to have a project. They start off, they're very open-ended. I'm just trying to illustrate a concept, and once you get that concept underway, you can take it wherever you want. I have some things in mind that when I taught this to elementary school that I wanted kids to do. But when you do it, but even in the classroom, they would experiment on their own. I might have some examples of some of their experiments as we get to those lessons. It was very open-ended. That's generally how we do most of our classes, where open-ended is an option. So Python is a programming language, and we're using something called Turtles, which predates Python. It's this idea that came from early computer science and coding education called Logo, where you would be moving a turtle around on a screen. So there's a bit of math involved on where you want to place the turtle because it's all one grid. We'll get to that eventually. But it's you're basically moving around a picture on the screen to draw artwork. Here is an example of something made in, this was made in old school Turtles. Let's see. It kind of looks like the programming language isn't Python. It looks like it might just be straight Logo or maybe Pascal. So that's not Python language there. That's a different language than we're used to, than that we'll be using here. But this is artwork made in Turtles. And that's all the code there. Only 19 lines of code created all this artwork here. Here's another one. This one was written in Python's version of Turtles. And this looks like it's about 25, 30 lines of code, and it created this spirograph type artwork. A lot of Python code, a lot of Turtles stuff kind of looks like spirograph because it's easy to iterate and loop through code and make it look like that. And sorry, one moment, just checking my chats. Okay. Here's some more artwork. This one's kind of cool. This one is also made with Python, Python Turtle. And this is like a cool tree. This actually illustrates a technique called recursion, which is something that exists in biology. If you've ever heard of like fractals, fractals are an example of recursion. And this is an example of using Python turtles. You can even see the turtle down here that's doing the drawing. Using fractals to draw the same thing again and again, smaller and smaller, and create this cool tree-like thing. For our lesson today, vocabulary you want to look out for. Library, as an example, Turtles is a library that we're going to be using in our code. Not library like where they keep books, but library like where code is kept on a computer. Function. We're going to be using functions today. Functions are things that do stuff. math has functions. Addition is a function in math. Subtraction is a function in math. So there's functions in math, and that vocabulary is taken over to coding and computer science, where function is a set of code that does something and has an output. Parameter is the thing that you give to functions. So you can have different parameters that you put in there that will make it move further or move in a different direction or turn a certain way. So there's parameters that the language would be you pass a parameter to a function, or you call a function, which is like doing the function, and you pass parameters to that function. If you look at videos online about Python coding, sometimes they might call parameters arguments. Parameter versus argument, there's slight differences, but for us, they mean basically the same thing. And in console, we might look at the console today. I'm going to show you, actually, I think in my presentation here, I've got pictures of the console. The console, if you watch if you watch like cartoons or movies or something, the console is like this. It's like where you see people like typing things. Where you're typing things out. That's the console. We're not going to be doing that in here, but the tool we're going to use has a console, so it's good to know what it is so you can see what it looks like on the online tool that we're using. So we're going to be using something called Repl.it. And this is our project for today. It's just 3 simple lines of code. Turtle forward, 100. Turtle left, 90. Turtle forward, 100 again. And we have this import turtle at the top. Let's go through this. I saw that a lot of you had already joined the Repl.it class. So we'll get to that when we get to the project. So we've got these really just 4 lines of code, but I put a little extra white space in there to make it easier to read, which is a nice thing about Python. You can add white space to make it easier. So here's our code, a bit blown up. We're going to look at this line by line. Import turtle. So import turtle, this line tells the program to use the turtle library. If we don't have this line, then it doesn't know that we can use turtle. And so like I said, a library is a collection of coding tools that can be used by programmers. Libraries usually have a theme to it, like this theme is all around the turtle stuff. There's libraries for doing machine learning, there's libraries for doing graphs, there's libraries for doing statistics, and so you have to import those libraries. There's libraries for doing graphics or things on the web, and so you normally have to import these libraries. A typical program would have, I don't know, a simple program might have like 5 or 6 imports at the top of it saying import this, import that. We're just using turtle, so we're going to just do import turtle for the most part. As this goes on, we're going to use another library called random, which is for doing random math things, like getting random numbers, kind of like rolling a dice, but on a computer. Next line, we have turtle forward 100. So turtle is the library, and forward is the function. And if we want to use a function in the turtle library, we have to say turtle, period. Programmers would say dot, though. Period is something in English and grammar. A dot is just there for, in coding talk, we just say dot. So turtle, dot, forward. Then we have to have an open parentheses and this parameter here, 100, and a closed parentheses. So turtle forward 100 is telling us that we're going to move that turtle forward 100 units, 100 pixels. We'll see a picture of it in a moment. And so turtle.forward is a function, and functions do specific tasks. So this is going to move our turtle forward in whatever direction it's pointed. So it might be pointed this way, or actually, it might be pointed forward, go up. If it's turned to the side, forward is going to go that way. If it's turned the other way, forward will make it go that way. It's going to go whatever is forward from it, not left and right, forward. Now, next one. Oh, let me go through this properly. So like I said, in Python, Functions end with open and closing parentheses. You could have functions that don't have anything in those parentheses, but you still have to have those parentheses. Sometimes they have parameters. The functions we have today have parameters. Most of the functions in Turtles require some kind of parameter. Some of them take multiple parameters. Then we have another function. So this is when I teach in the class. What's the name of the function on this line? That's right. It's turtle.left. Or you could say the function's name is left. I should do this Dora style or Sesame Street style where I ask you guys questions and you can all pretend like you're responding at home. So this is turtle.left. And what would be the parameter for this function? That's right, the parameter is 90. That means it's going to turn 90 degrees to the left. So if our turtle is facing this way, it's going to turn your left, not my left. It's going to turn 90 degrees, a right angle. So these are degrees here. If you say 360, it's going to spin all the way around. If you say 180, it's going to turn the opposite direction. Once we're experimenting, you'll see this. So here's our code. When we run it, actually, I can run this. I'll run it live in a moment. So when it goes, it's going to go this way and up. All right. Let's get to joining the class so we can actually see this interactive. How's everyone doing? Let's do a quick check-in. Hi, Ted Pools 100. Thanks for joining us for this today. All right. So we are going to, I'm going to walk you through how to join our class in Replit. I sent a URL out through email. I'm going to post it in the chat right now. Oh, I have to sign into chat. I don't know if I can do that. All right, I'm not going to sign into chat. I'll post it in the... Don't worry, Bella. Bella, what grade are you in? Deadpools. Yeah, if you're in the chats, let me know what grade you're in. It'll give me a better sense of where I should be going with it. Oh, the computer's going crazy, guys. Sorry. That was all psychedelic for a moment. I really need an external monitor to monitor the chats. Anyway, the URL, I posted into the Twitch chat. Chances are if you're seeing this, you got an email with this link in it. If you don't have this link, don't worry. We'll settle this. We'll settle this over time. This is the first class. Things aren't going to go great the first class. I'm just going to set this up like I'm a new person. I'm going to put in my username as Mr. Galen, my email as galenh@gmail.com, and make up a password. And I'm going to solve this puzzle like 3 times. I don't know why Google makes me do this all the time. And this is Google that makes me do this. Crosswalks. Oh, there's a crosswalk. I think that's all of them. All right, now we got to find palm trees. What if this was the entire class of me solving CAPTCHAs? Bicycles. Bridges. All right, I'm in. Okay. It's got some old picture of me, Mr. Galen. Actually, let's just hit skip. Oh boy. All right, we're in, I think. All right, did it take my class? It did not add me to the class after I created my link, so let me get this link again. Oh, my nephew Owen is in the chat. All right. All right, really wants my name here. All right, Mr. Galen. Okay, now I'm in the class. All right. Okie doke. All right. So we're going to be in this class. Here is our project that we're going to do. Once you're in the class, project 1, super easy. Okay, Bella, you're in 5th grade. Deadpool's, you're in 4th. Randy, you're in 5th. Okay. So hopefully everyone has this project. I'm not creating assignments for this class because of the way they submit projects let you be more open-ended. So every day I'm going to post a new project for here. They start really easy. So this is project 1. You click it. My projects, I think all the projects I'm going to be posting, the code works straight out of the gate. So if you hit run, it will run. Got it. We can run it again. There it goes. So again, our turtle goes forward, then it turns, and it goes forward again. Each time it goes 100. I mentioned the console before, so if we click console, it shows us this thing, which doesn't really do us any good right now. If we have errors, it'll tell us. As an example, let's say I want to add a new line. So I move forward. I want it to, let's run it. Let's say I want my little arrow thing there to make a box. So we're going to say turtle dot left. And we're going to do 90 degrees again. So we run it. We saw it turn, but it didn't do anything afterwards. Let's tell it to go forward again. Turtle dot, I'm going to do something that every 4th and 5th grader I've seen has done. 100. Run. It didn't do anything, and now the console has a little red X next to it. So we click that red X, it's going to give us some weird computer gobbledygook. Attribute error, invalid type. Object has no attribute forward on line 7. The line 7 thing is probably the most important part for kids trying to follow along and figure things out at home. Line 7 is telling us that line 7 has a problem on it. The problem is we misspelled forward. It's got an R in there. So then if we go back to results and we run our code, now it will complete that. We could also change these. We could change this up here if we want to. We could say 200. Let's change that to 80. Let's change that to 60. And now it'll do something a bit different. So we can change the parameters. We can also add more. Turtle dot left. Let's say 60 again. And then we're going to go turtle dot forward 75. Something important to note, maybe this is obvious to some of you, but it does these in order. So not all code is written one line after the other, but the code we're writing right now, every line happens one after the other. So it's going to do turtle.forward first. If I make an error up here, let's say I misspelled forward here, and I run it, it's not going to do the rest of the code. even though these lines are correct, when it gets to line 5 is broken, and computers are not very smart. And it's going to say, again, attribute error. It's going to say no attribute forward on line 5. Again, line 5 is what we're worried about. If we go to line 5, we'll see that it was misspelled. Let's run it again. Bella, I posted the link up in the chat, so you should have the classroom there to join once you do it. If anyone is having problems, email me after class at galen@sunsetspark.org. And I will help get you situated. It's kind of cool looking into the abyss here of this computer screen. Cool. Okay, so you can also, with Python, here's another error students might make. They might forget to put a parentheses on. Let's do turtle up. Turtle dot left 100. I would caution kids at home who are doing this, don't put in numbers like 999999999. It's just going to move off the screen. Nothing exciting is going to happen. Try to keep it on the screen. So now we hit run. Nothing happened this time. It didn't run anything. We go to console. Parse error, bad input line 10. Line 10 looks good. Sometimes you got to look at the line before an error. So line 10 is bad, or line 10 is good, but line 9 is missing a parentheses. So these errors that it gives you about the line numbers for the errors or like hints. You kind of have to be a detective to figure out what the problem is. And it's usually somewhere within 1 or 2 lines of either before or after or on that same line. So we fix it. Now we go back and we hit run. It'll do some things. Okay, so Python is, you can add extra lines to Python if you wanted to. You could have every line separated. You could also put spaces after parentheses if you wanted to. And everything will still run. But this isn't true across the board. If you put a space right in the middle, now it's not going to work. So you can't put spaces in the middle of words. Can you put spaces after dots? You can put the spaces after dots. I generally wouldn't. That isn't how a programmer would normally write it. Actually, there are some programmers who might write it in that style. Maybe. I feel like Java, another programming language, it's often written where the dots are lined up in a certain way. So you can always space it out, do turtle dot. So we have left and forward. Does anyone want to guess? If we can do turtle dot left, what else do you think we can do? That's right, we can do turtle dot right. So this will turn the turtle right, and if we can do, let's do forward again. So now the turtle can turn the other direction. And there's another hidden function. If we have turtle left and turtle right and turtle forward, Anyone want to take a guess at what else we might have? That's right, turtle dot backward. And this will make our little arrow thing go backwards. Eventually, we're going to learn how to turn the arrow into a turtle or other things. Okay. So this was the first class. The idea is to just fool around and get used to typing things out. Hopefully get your Replit account set up. It's okay to have different numbers in there. These numbers are just parameters, so these can be changed to whatever you want. If I wanted to, I could put zeros in for all of them, and our turtle's just going to sit there. If you notice in the beginning, it didn't move as much because it's just 0. So you can do function forward 0, and that means it's not going to go anywhere. If you don't put anything in here, does it still go? No, it gets an error. Forward takes exactly one positional argument. Oh, see, Python calls them arguments. So arguments are parameters. Line 3, we have to have at least something here. We can put in 5 if we want. Makes a little tiny area there. Okay, so let me check the chat again. Okay, great. I'm glad we figured that out. Hi, Isabella. Okay. All right, so once you have this, I don't know if it saves or... I've never used projects with Replit before. Do we share it? No. Well, I'll have to figure out how projects work, because previously I used assignments, but I think projects work better. But I don't know how to submit them yet. So it's this first one. This is just an exercise for yourself to get used to it. Eventually, since you all have accounts, I can invite some of you to join me, and we can code together, or you can invite me to your project and we can code together. I'll have to figure out for tomorrow how to submit these, because you should be able to submit a project, but I might be wrong. We might have to change things up for tomorrow. But yeah, just practice doing forward, left, backwards, right, and see if you can make it move the way you want it to move. Just experiment with it. There's plenty of other features. Tomorrow we're going to learn some other things. Let me go back to my presentation. So, here's where I talked about the errors. We have to make sure that we have arguments or parameters inside of our parentheses if it requires it. Those parameters are up to us. We decide what they're going to be. So yeah, I mentioned that we have turtle.right and turtle.backwards. Remember that we have to use our parameters if we're going to use these new functions. And that is it for the lesson today. So everyone give it a try tomorrow. Just a heads up, tomorrow, this class might start at a different time. I'm going to send out emails to everyone who I emailed previously. We might have to start it at 9:30 and 11:30, but unless you hear back, it's going to be at 10 and 11 again. For this week only. Next week, I'm going to be doing a class with first, second, and third graders during the earlier time slot. Anyway, thanks for following along. Email me if you're having problems. Find a way to contact me, and I will I'll help you get them solved so that we're on track for the next class. Thank you.